Happy Kamehameha Day, which is a Hawaiian celebration that is celebrated every year on June 11th since 1872. And it was one of the first holidays that was proclaimed by the United States legislature of Hawaii when it became a state in 1959. Kamehameha the Great was also known as Kamehameha the First, and he was the ruler of Hawaii from 1782 until his death, which was May 8th in 1819. He's remembered for uniting Hawaii and introducing laws to uphold human rights, and especially in combat situations, because it was pretty brutal over there during those times. And for being a fair and stable leader. His name, though, means lonely or loneliness, and he is sometimes known as the Napoleon of the Pacific. So usually what they do over there for Kamehameha Day is they'll have like horse races and cycling races and running races, and they also have the King Kamehameha hula competition. And this dish that I'm using right here, this is our dish here, porcupine balls. Kamehameha porcupine balls. There. So I'll cover that, let it sit. I use a little bit of garlic and also ginger, which are also two Hawaiian spices that actually came from Asia and China, and that's how they added into like their meats and stuff, which is what we have here as a meat dish. We used a large mixing bowl and a casserole dish, which you see right there. And our ingredients were 2 pounds of beef, but we actually used 1.5 pounds of beef. 1 egg to bind it all together. Half of a yellow onion that we diced really finely. A teaspoon of garlic powder, but we actually use a little bit of garlic powder and some garlic salt grinder. We used a teaspoon of pepper, but actually used a rainbow peppercorn grinder. It called for 1/2 cup of uncooked rice for your 2 pounds of beef, but we used only about 1/4 cup of rice, which is just fine. And I added a dash of ginger, and you can use a slice of bread in between the cooking to soak up the grease, but we didn't have to because this is lean beef from the farm. And we used 2 cans of cream of mushroom soup and a little bit of water and a little bit of milk to mix that up. We preheated the oven to 375 degrees, and then we mixed all of the ingredients, the beef, the rice, the egg, all the dry ingredients with our hands, because we like a little bit dirty there. And then we formed little balls, put them in the casserole dish, as you beautifully see here. Then we baked them for 20 minutes. And in between that time, I would suggest enjoying a glass of wine, because that's what I did. And then you take them out, you determined you need to take out the grease, and then you soak that out with either your bread or, manually. And then you cover the porcupine balls with the soup and the milk and the water, and then that creates your gravy. And then you bake that for another 20 minutes. You cover the dish though too, because the first time you're doing it, you don't cover it. The second time you cover it. And then once it's done, then we have potatoes here. They will become mashed potatoes, and then that will be our bed that we rest them on. You can use pasta or you can use rice too to put your porcupine balls and its gravy on. I also want to mention, though, that my first vegetable that I learned to plant, grow, and harvest was the russet potato. We're not using russet potatoes, we're using red potatoes, but I learned how to grow those from my grandma Joanne, who was my mom's long-term boyfriend mother, and we used to go there from transitioning from my dad's house to my mom's house, and we would go to Sean's mom's house, and we would have dinner, and it was really great. So today is also the feast day of St. Barnabas. And St. Barnabas was a Jew of Cyprus, and he comes close as anyone outside of the 12 apostles to be a full-fledged apostle. He was associated with St. Paul, and he introduced Paul to Peter and other apostles. He served as a kind mediator between the former prosecutor and the still suspicious Jewish Christians. After a miracle at Lystra, the people wanted to offer sacrifice to them as God, Barnabas being Zeus and Paul being Hermes. But the two said, "We are the same nature as you, human beings. We proclaim you the good news that you should turn from these idols and to the living God." And you can see Acts 14:8-18 for that. But all was not peaceful. They were expelled from one town, and they had to go to Jerusalem to clear up the ever-reoccurring controversy about the criticism, and even best friends can have differences, but we all know that. When Paul went to revisit the places they had evangelized, Barnabas wanted to take along John Mark, his cousin, the author of the gospel. But Paul insisted that since Mark had deserted them once, that he was not fit to take along now. The disagreement that followed them was so sharp that Barnabas and Paul separated, Barnabas taking Mark to Cyprus, and Paul taking Silas to Syria, and later they were reconciled, Paul, Barnabas, and Mark. So today is a feast day of forgiveness, and the name Barnabas means son of encouragement. So I'm going to go ahead and encourage you to go ahead and give this recipe a try, and it's super yummy, so I can't wait. Let's get into the comfort food. Yay!